All right, here we go again. Buckle up. Rough roads ahead. Hopefully, we can smooth out those rough roads. All right. As far as Daryl Issa introducing, let me turn this down a little bit. I'm going to make sure it's not too loud. That looks good. So, as far as Daryl Issa introducing legislation to control judges, I think the court will throw that out. Right. I mean, there's only minimal checks and balances right now. Right. So I told you that the court was going to actually will check, and it's not unheard of. Right. But the thing they could do is they could appeal to a higher court judge and say, well, the part where they have to destroy, stop work and destroy. Right. Because it's just not going to work. Because the law is probably unconstitutional. Again, it's the same thing. It's check and balance. You're going to try to thwart check and balance. Right. And I'm not sure. I mean, again, we're looking at retaliation. The more they go into retaliation, the more the court's going to reject stuff. Right. Well, all those people he banned from the federal courts, it's going to appear as retaliation. Right. These are personal experience related. Right. Those people obviously were not his favorite people. Again, what it's going to do is it's going to dredge up the prior proceedings. Thank you, sir. Or the prior cases. Now, these are executive orders. These are not orders coming from Bondi or cases coming from Bondi. You see what's happening. Well, you're personally doing things against somebody that you have an adversarial relationship with, and you've done this previously, right? Or they've done it to the Justice Department. So what we're seeing is retaliation. Now, they may have retaliated. They may have been involved in retaliation. But again, where are the facts? Right, so I don't know. I guess Trump's mad because he's getting sued by Letitia James and a couple people. Right. So I guess this is his way to fight it. But again, the same news cycle. There's information about. I may sound weird because I'm in a lot of pain, but I'm trying to get this through to you so I can help you understand. Right. Well, Elon Musk seems like he actually chilled out a little bit. Right. I don't know if he did. As far as what I'm looking at, just real quick, I don't see as much noise. Again, it's important to keep the noise down. And also, this is what I'm getting into with the same news cycle. The investors are getting upset. We don't want to lose the investors. Well, again, there's process that doesn't upset the investors, and you can still move forward. Right? It's just that overage, that friction. Bless you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. No, I'm not sure. It could be from maybe the weather combined with just trying to heal and all that. because healing creates inflation or inflammation. But the problem is if there's too much inflammation, it might not heal, and that's when you get the steroid. Right. Thank you, Larry. I was trying to see if somebody has, again, money. There's a CBD oil treatment. I was trying to see what they have that you could use with a massage, something, that might help soothe it, like arnica or something. And all they have is CBD oil, and that's not cheap. One's $30, one's $40, along with like a $90 massage, right? Or $70 massage, whatever it is. Well, I'm just not sure what this whole thing is because, like I said, it goes up and down the back. So I don't know if it's, if another procedure that the ablation therapy would work where they take those two nerves out and then everything relaxes and then I heal, or it might be too late for that. Right. I probably needed that for years, But again, I use a lot of magnesium oil, and that can actually make it too loose. Right. So again, the key is to get something like corticosteroid and get some light massage, kind of getting it to heal, right? And then it could lay in with the right tension and work again, but I got to get to it. And now I got to clean my apartment for pest control next week, so there's a lot to do. And the weather's just heading south. So again, another trial of Job. And Job says times a million. Thank you, Ed. So again, it's just a friction thing. I don't know what's going on in the White House because I'm not there, right? I don't know what the discussions are. I don't know if it's Donald being Donald. I don't know. Right. But we don't want to lose the investors. They're very important. Right? Because once that goes, then a bunch of other things could go. Oh my God. I got no idea, what's going on. Again, it could be mold too, right? Inflaming it. I'm not in a good place. I didn't, I needed to be in a newer place to live. Again, I wish I could have did it over again and I would have moved to Manhattan, but I'm sure they willed me here because the setup is here. There's no way I could have figured that this was a setup. I think the case with the detective was to lure me here. Like there was somebody really watching out for corruption. Right. Of course, that case never took place. These people are corrupt as hell around here. Right. Thank you, Larry. So again, they did attack during this season, and that was their intention because they know this is one of the most difficult seasons to get through in the year, right? Especially if you have bodily injury. Well, like some of the issue may just be kind of muscular, right? And once the muscles are calmed down, then it could heal. But the muscles may have been so bad, like when I was in Texas, that they destroyed too much of the body, right, to heal. And then the other thing is to get the lower lumbar, somehow some surgery, but it's a big step, especially now at my age. Like 4 years ago, it would have been easier to do. Right. I mean, this could have all been avoided if they were controlled, and they should have been controlled. There's no reason for them to beat up a disabled person. Right. I mean, these are I mean, these are law enforcement officers. I mean, they should all be in prison at this point, right? For even thinking about beating up on on a disabled law enforcement officer. I mean, just doing deals with like Hughes and all that. They just do deals, like corrupt deals, criminal deals, right? There's a lot. Some of these people are FBI. I mean, what the hell? I mean, God's going to destroy this place. It could take 10 years, could take 20 years, could take 100 years, but Earth is over. So let's get back to where I was. Right. All that noise coming out of the White House affects investors, supporters. Again, I don't know who that guy is. It could even be deep state, but there's a guy that claims to be a Trump supporter. And he says, the chaos is not what we bought into. Again, I had a feeling, again, I connect, right? So I'm receiving these things. Right. Well, because they believed you'd fix the chaos. There's a little bit of concern, and I'm not sure what's causing. My right leg got a little stiff, and I don't really feel the right side of my body's all that tight. So I was a little concerned as to what's triggering that, because that could be the sciatica nerve, and then that you may not be repairable at that point, right? Although this is tight right here, and if this was worked out, it might release that. Oh, yeah, I can already feel it. So my hips might be getting tight. Again, this was not necessary. My body healed well. And they're out there trying to act like it's about something. And there's people online that they've already paid money to say things. They don't even know why they're saying it. All they know is they get whatever $1,000 or maybe even more. It could be $10,000 just to say certain words. Right. Thank you, Larry. So it's like the deep state will work with certain people that are saying they're fighting the deep state and pay them money to say certain things. But then again, somebody else might be honest in what they're saying. No, it seemed like Elon was chilling out, and then President Trump went crazy. Right? Well, again, you might feel like it's your way of fighting back, but again, when you're in the presidential office, it's different than running for the campaign, running for the office, because they're hoping that you'll take that away, that insanity. Right. So even if MAGA created insanity during the election, they're generally not. It's not attributed to MAGA because you're not the one in the presidency. Right. So you could actually create friction, and then they would blame it on Biden because he's in the office, which I think you kind of helped with that. Right. I hope I get some sleep tonight. No, I can feel it's like something that's like, I think it's environmental, some of it. So if I change the environment, I'd be okay. So again, if I had my money, things would work. But in true form, it looks like the deep state's moving money to repel giving me money. Right. I mean, it's crazy. They paid way more than they had to just give me a normal life and let me live. Right. These are psychotic people. Yeah, they spend government money. Right. Again, I got a lot of, I think, allergy going on. So I guess my right is still a little bit tight. Right. Right, the left is looser than the right. So maybe if I put arnica on the back, upper back, it might relax. And well, the thing is, if you get corticosteroid, I could get it like an epidural, and then a little bit later they can shoot steroids into the upper back if necessary. If the epidural doesn't take it out. Right. Well, if it gets real tight, it starts pulling on the nerves itself. Right. Again, I don't know if ultrasonics is involved or anything like that also. I mean, people are evil, let's just face it. I felt like they were like something was pushing me online. It may have just been their will or whatever, but I'm definitely not doing what they wanted me to do online. They were hoping I would yell and scream. Right. Thank you, Larry. Well, ISIS says he's going to introduce legislation to take care of the judges, but it'll probably get shot down. The judiciary will shoot it because it's check and balance. It's going to conflict with check and balance. Right. Correct. So again, be careful of living in MAGA world instead of living in reality. Right. MAGA world works for the election and all that, but when you're in the office, you have to meet a lot of things. Well, the way to handle that judge is to appeal it if you don't want to do it. Again, I'm saying appeal the requirement to get rid of the, like, what he's saying, no more work and get rid of what you have. Right. I mean, it's not really unheard of, something like that. Right. Like I said, the president has broad latitude, but there's things like Biden's preemptory pardons. I don't think they'll fly. Right. So you're all doing that MAGA election thing, and it's just not going to work. It'll work some places, but most places no. And then, but you're also making friction. Thank you, Larry. And that friction is going to cause other issues. And remember, if you start messing with the judges, I mean, they do get to do what they need to do. Right. So again, if they make a process that should take a week at the most, take 6 months, that's going to bog down our machine. Right. I mean, maybe you're going to introduce legislation to say that Elon is cleared for everything. I don't know. I don't know if that's different than the president saying it. Right. Well, because there's a reality. And again, it may not fly. I don't know what the courts are going to say. Even that court might change. I'd have rather seen a more neutral court than an Obama judge, but I don't know. Maybe it is a neutral court. Maybe I'm just jumping to conclusions. Oh, I see what it's saying. Yeah, I need massage, I guess. The question is, I don't want them. There are things I don't want them to over massage me. Right. I kind of got over massaged because I was trying to find where the sticking point was. So I was getting a lot of massages. So this is causing it. This is probably controllable with steroid. A spirit's trying to tell me what it is, actually. It's moving my hand to, could be Jesus. Well, again, you're saying these people can't go again. Too much, too soon, too fast, without What are you going to say? What was your research? What gave you that conclusion? Right. Well, everything's getting lumped together, and it looks like retaliation. I mean, it sucks, but I get, was it 19 attorney generals? That's a lot of attorney generals. Right. For any case. See, now the shoe's on the other foot. Right. Well, like I said, if anything, if you think you would prevail, I don't know if you would. I would just appeal it. I don't think they'll still allow. They might still do the stop all work, but as far as trash your work, I don't know if they would do that. Right. I mean, they might make an accommodation where any work you have has to be stored somewhere. Right. With a, what do they call that? Not a guardian. Or somebody to watch. I forget what they call it. Not a guardian. It's something else. Hey, Larry. And hang on, I'll be back in a second. I don't know what the initiation of all this is. Like, how, was it a meeting? Did the president just come up with it, or who told him to do that? Right. Making sure. Well, again, Daryl Ice is not going to handle the judges. It's just not going to happen. It's checks and balance, and it's out there. Right. I mean, there might be Republicans that might not. Again, what he might do is actually just kind of say Elon Musk is covered and he has a background investigation. Right. But again, it's not going to really change the paradigm. It may actually make it worse. Right. Like I told you, the work is you can do the work, but the best thing you could have done, which makes you think you may not be hearing me, but you should have hired your own experts. Right? Your own monitors. No, I mean, you have to understand these cases at differing levels have occurred throughout time with the government. So a special master monitoring is not unheard of. And I speak about it every so often, but it actually came out like in my mind, and I'm like, well, what's going on? And I went online and saw that and said, well, maybe it's that. Right. Well, that's why I was telling you to self-monitor. So you can go to the court and said, yeah, the whole time we had this, security guy, contractor that we hired. Right. I mean, I find it weird, the people you selected. I mean, it just is. Whether it's you or Biden, right? Or anyone else. Why are you worried? Well, that's a Republican voice, just to let you know. Right. I don't know who it is, but they're saying, thanking me for, because they can't say it. They're afraid of taking on the MAGA machine. So we got the Webster. I don't know if the Webster letter is actually real or someone else, and he just, they're saying it's him. All right, hold your minds down. I'm trying to think my way through this. All right. Was the president triggered by anything? I mean, I'm not in the White House. You got to get him to not be triggered because they're going to try to trigger him. So, because they're trying to develop a track record that they can fight. Right. Thank you, Larry. I mean, they've been doing it to me for like 30 years. Now, it looks like to me, remember I said, oh, some people are saying some things and signaling me. Well, it's like all over the internet now, which means they hired probably additional people, or maybe they're being honest and they're just trying to cue me. Right. Thank you, Larry. Oh, really weird. Amazon didn't refund my money. And at first there was no evidence to the call. I mean, it's still there's no evidence to the call. No, like usually you get an email thanking you and all that. Right. So it might be retaliation for helping Trump. Thank you, Larry. And President Trump back up to president. Because I just said Trump instead of President Trump. Right. So it could be retaliation. I've never seen it like that. And they were like really rude compared to the way they usually act. And it was kind of psyopish. It could have been spies from a foreign nation because I think they were UK. So UK, again, there's spies that manipulate Amazon stuff all the time. Right. So it may have been UK spies that routed me, right? And then they may have. There should have been emails and things, right? First, they acted like they didn't know anything, and then she said, "I'm sorry, they said that." But she just has a standard answer. We can't refund it. We can't refund it. Because I kept saying, "What do you mean?" I think you told me to throw it. They told me to. I told her I was going to throw it away after she said she refunded it. I said, "There's no way for me to contest whether it's bad or not. You're telling me that Amazon made no mistake." I said, "I don't know that because you made me throw it away." It sounds like they were trying to play me. So, and it could have been UK spies because they hate Trump, right? Thank you. Yeah, when you're on Amazon, spies can hit you. So again, they were trying to trigger me like they triggered Trump today somehow, right? Again, you got to remember my body's been cramped for 4 years, so if it is fixable, it's going to take a little work, right? I just wish I could accept Dawn in Santa Fe with massage, just normal life, right? So President Trump is probably being triggered. Yeah, it feels like my right side is way too tight at the top. Right. And I've had trouble on that side years ago with my TMJ because of that. Right. So I probably do need steroids. I probably need some direct shots on top of it. Right. Mm-hmm. And maybe that'll work better. So it'll relax. and then level in. Bless you, sir. Like if I was around Dr. Burrell, I'd go, God bless that man. I mean, he's got to care about people to be as good as he is. He's an anesthesiologist in Estero. I think he was affiliated with Naples, Naples General, I guess they call it. He was just amazing. It was so low baggage. You walk in there, he goes, he does like an X-ray, and that's it. You walk out of there and you're well within a day, a couple of days, you're already getting well. Anybody else is just like an idiot. Right? Now, I was in Naples long enough. I was like a fixture, you know what I mean? But they just kept killing me. It's like insane. Like Rick Henry could order me killed in Naples, Florida. I mean, it's insane. Johnny Hughes could order me killed in Naples, Florida. Isn't that insane? Right. And of course, my mom's had that place since the 80s. Right. Thank you, Larry. No, I was pretty much a fixture. People recognized me. Right. 100%. Thanks, Larry. No, I couldn't get to a church. And it's one of the few places I never got to the church. Right. Like now, I could, but right. And I'd probably end up in what's his name's church, Scott's church. Like Scott may have known me. I don't know how long he's lived there. He may know me by seeing me. Right. Thanks, Larry. I mean, it's just insane. Nah, it's because I can sense it. You know what I mean? I'm very right now. I'm very open because they're trying to kill me. So I'm trying to figure out things for the administration. All right, let me take a look here. Well, the arguments against Musk, some are pretty, they just go too far, right? But there are again, so a lot of us were in government, right? And we know the requirements that were there. They are, you can, right? Just reading about some stuff in France here. You can bend the rules a little bit, right? But again, it's not the same as the private sector, and he's treating it that way. It's not. It just isn't. It wasn't meant to be. It's a nation. We don't even know what they looked at. Right. Read, Larry. Well, at first I thought my right side was laying right, but I can feel it now that it's not. But again, if I got steroid treatments, it might relax, and then it has to heal. So if you have inflammation where it can't heal and gets cramping up and like that, you hit it with steroid, it cools the muscle down. It relaxes the muscle, and then it gives it time to heal. And then when the steroid wears off, theoretically, the inflammation should be either gone or reduced to a level that it can heal on its own. Right? But I'm just having problems getting to anything because I had the COVID and everything. Thank you, Large. Again, you're a great showman and all that, but when it gets into the federal court, you're all lost in the sauce, right? That's what I've been trying to warn you all about. No, there's not much they can do. And, as far as legislation, it's kind of basic what they're saying. Right? Well, the judge will probably tell you that those people I mean, I don't know where the case is going to go, but you have 19 attorney generals, right? And what they're, they could come up with an idea. I don't want to give them too much information in this case they're listening, but they come with a lot of ideas that will say the way Musk is doing this, the risky way, is not necessary. Like this idea where you need this kid. Right. It calls himself so-and-so. I mean, right. I mean, it works for the hype, the showman, the MAGA, but when you get into court, it's going to be neutralized to the facts and law. And again, you're creating friction that if you don't prevail, you created friction for nothing, Right. So like this, like the media thing, all the, I see the president of El Salvador even weighed in about the media, but it doesn't matter when it gets to the court. Right. Right. Now, when you're running for office, you score points with that. Thank you, Larry. Thank you. You're doing great. Thanks, Sammy. So again, that's one of our issues. And I think some of the senators know, but they're not going to say anything that's going to make Donald mad. Right. They don't want to be on the chopping block. But again, we have to, we don't want the Republican Party on the chopping block. But again, I'm not against the Democratic Party if they do the right thing. Obviously, Biden did. Right. I'm not a partyist. Because I believe each party, like if we could get back to bipartisanship, each party has its strengths. See, that's the problem. Because we're not going bipartisan, each party has some lack of capability. Because they used to complement each other to a certain degree. Right. Well, I think we're being radicalized by foreign powers. And I think that's the problem. Thank you, Larry. And of course, there's some sellouts in the United States. Thank you, Larry. So, okay, here's an example. He's stopping potentially illegal payments. What are these potentially illegal payments? Well, if they're not illegal payments, right. Yeah, but they could have did this after the Trump administration also. Right. I know for a fact there are a couple things, but it's not like traditionally in government they don't dog it, right? Oh, so it's the anti-Tea Party thing. Is what somebody's saying. Right? They were. Oh, that's something else. Right. Again, remember, we have to reduce the friction, and then they can do the same thing. If there's too much friction, if the economy goes south, they're going to start putting Democrats in. Right. Thank you, sir. I'll make it that T. Well, again, the review process is going to be the review process. Again, there's a lot of reasons. I'm not telling you that everything's going to rule against the administration, right? But there, like I said, the review process exists. Well, because like I was even receiving vibrations from Clarence Thomas and Alito. And again, it doesn't mean they know they're sending me anything. It's just kind of the way the connection works sometimes. And they were worried. And right, one of the things that I just heard from Thomas or his spirit, he reiterated. He says, if you go in certain directions, he's not going to be able to help you. Right. Well, because he can try to persuade the court of certain things in your favor, but if you go too far over, he can't. Thank you much. Or they can't. Well, they're probably going to tell you a lot of different things over the coming months about what's wrong with what's going on. Yes, sir. Well, it's just there's a framework you have to work within, and they're not. Again, it's not like the idea that there's some corruption. Again, you have to be careful. And actually, I'm bringing this up real quick. Thank you, Larry. And it's probably perfect timing. This is kind of lucky for all of you, and hopefully it gets to everybody that needs to hear it. Don't start claiming that the judges are pro-corruption. Just don't do it. And that may be coming from your buddies in the Supreme Court. Because you're out there saying, oh, they're freaking out because they love corruption. Thank you, Larry. Well, if you do that to the judges, it's not going to go well because it's not. Again, this is a strange process. Like I told you, I was surprised there wasn't more lawsuits, right? Which makes me feel they're setting you up, letting you just do what you need, what you need to do to hang yourselves. Right? But it's just a review of the process, and you're already, screaming bloody murder. Again, the way you do it. We've done it before. The Trump administration, the Biden administration did it. Right. Obama administration did it. You appeal to the higher court. Now, I don't know how you feel about what the outcome of the appeal is, because of course you're not going to appeal if you think the outcome will be the same. As far, I think appealable possibly is the idea that you have to trash your work. That may because a custodian. That's the word I was looking for. Because you could give it to a custodian. Like you can't hold on to it, but you could give all your work to a custodian that's cleared to have your work. But then again, maybe you'll get upset because somebody has your work. I don't. Or maybe you can have a custodian that you can trust. Thank you, Larry. So again, I thought that may have been, he can do that. I mean, but I think that was appealable where, all that work doesn't have to be trashed. I mean, it may have to be trashed if the final decision is that you can't have it, right? But as far as trashing your work, I mean, it's pretty harsh, right? Because you did do work; it took time. Right? So you could say, Your Honor, could we appoint a custodian that's cleared to hold on to that until such a time we decide what to do with it? So again, that's what I believe that should be. As far as not stopping your work, I don't feel it's as harsh, but again, I know what you're trying to do, and it does conflict with what you're trying to do. The time frame, your time constraints you're under. Right. Well, you could appeal it and say, Your Honor, we have a March budget negotiation that needs to occur, and that's why we're working so fast, right? So again, you can appeal that decision. I think the most appealable one is to trash your work. It's kind of harsh, right? Thank you, Larry. But I mean, it could get trashed in the end because they're just stopping the work. I mean, what they would call a restraining order, temporary restraining order. I hope I sleep good tonight. But yeah, I can feel on my right side now that it's tight because I couldn't figure out why everything was so screwed up. Right. But again, what's triggering it? Well, actually, I woke up today and I felt like the neck area was a little bit tight. I slept a certain way. Right. I mean, might need to change my food. It's strange because when I eat it, I feel weird after I eat it. So there might be something in there that I'm allergic to or something. I just bought all those cans of beans. Well, I'm not sure what to do with it. So I guess I definitely need to go for a massage, but again, I need to get some sort of, CBD is just too expensive. I was wanting to get something that can work with the muscles, like magnesium oil or something like that. And I'm not even taking my magnesium baths. I do need to get out of here into a new apartment or even like a hotel room. I should have never grew roots. I just wrong move. But again, they're doing it. Right. Apparently, FEMA's doing something right now. Right. She's doing a great job of getting the word out, but you just got to make sure. And it's good because she went from dirt bags to that. Right. Thank you, Larry. I guess I'm there. Right. Okay, my microphone came out. I think it just came out. Uh, FEMA's swift action. So we got uh, Christy Noem speaking about other things than dirt bags. That worked good. You shifted the paradigm there, the flow, and that way people don't get too much of one thought there. Well, again, you James sues you over Musk data use. Judge blocks access, and then you say she can't go to a federal building. That looks like retaliation. But who told them to do it? That's what I want to know. Somebody had to tell him that he could do that. Right. Well, that could be a double agent. I may be wrong, but right. Well, because it looks like retaliation. You're again a pattern and practice. Yeah, I was just reading about that Jew, whether Jews are white or not. Some Jews are rather dark, but I guess they're still white. So again, we have to be careful of pattern of practice as far as retaliation. We need to be careful about the specter of retaliation becoming pattern and practice. I'd have to just go look again at this here. Okay, so consumer sentiment fell 5%, or about 5%, in the University of Michigan's preliminary February survey of consumers to its lowest reading since July 2024. That would make sense for several reasons. To include, fossil fuels ticked up. Now, a lot of people could be skewing the data because they don't like Trump. Now, you can ask a question differently or with a different attitude, and you could change those figures. This is important to poll and to look at. MAGA voter rips Trump chaos, not what we signed up for. Thank you, Larry. You need to find out if that's a lot of your people or a larger number. Again, this person's supposedly MAGA, I guess, or just a Trump voter. Okay, no, he's not necessarily a MAGA. He's a Trump voter. Right. Because a Trump voter doesn't mean they're MAGA. Trump pulled from a lot of different groups of people. Okay, where are we? 7.6 mag quake rocks Caribbean. $500 eggs. That's like a major crime. Those things are expensive. 500 eggs stolen in Seattle. Oh, you like King? You let Prince Harry stay? I mean, that's probably a good move. Right, that's a good move. Well, that's kind of stuff we see. You got to balance. That balances, right? So you're coming out of balance, right? It creates a specter of negativity. Right? I use that word specter a lot now, don't I? Arwen. They're trying to freak me out. Right. Drudge might be part of it. Right. Trying to get me not to help you. There's no doubt. Thank you, Larry. Just look at where they put the word more, and you might see them like some sort of weird messaging. Again, yet maybe not. Right. Okay, they're saying kind of something here. Let me see. See, it's saying Trump's migration crackdown, which has so far produced arrest numbers similar to what they were in stretches under Barack Obama. Well, what part of Barack Obama's administration were they? Like, how long did he have to tool up for it? Right. I would say it was probably, somewhere in the middle. Right. Remember, he's in office for 8 years, so. Right. Yeah, but also, wait, X. Oh, that's the, which one's that? They're not like the border numbers. They have fewer arrests because they're not coming. So again, that one's. It's definitely designed to be an unflattering news article. Uh, just try to like pick through their allegations. Right. Yeah, it's definitely designed to poo-poo the effort. So how you might have a larger leak problem, right? Again, remember they can hack agents' apps and all sorts of stuff, right? Like now the phone lines go over the digital network, right? Phone conversations. Right? Local media. So you think it's local media coverage? That leaked the. Oh yeah, you're just getting tooled up, so it's going to be what's going to be, right? But I think you might have some leak problems. Again, also, uh, make sure you're not GPS. You could be GPS, right? You can be people can eavesdrop. You can have like tech weenies and people with, CIA toolkits getting all your information that way too. Right? I told that to the Trump administration. Remember, they can eavesdrop through your phone. Right. See, I'm trying to get like how the deportation figures work. Okay, so right, so, well, they're trying to say at that rate, Trump would be on track to deport half the number of migrants as Biden did in 2024. Right, but the reality is, I think they're including the people that came across the border. So you don't have the people. That's what I was trying to say earlier. I don't know if that was included in the figures. You don't have people coming across the border, so your numbers could, all intents and purposes, be smaller, right? Because the border detentions were easy, right? You just grab and they're gone, right? They're very accusatory. They got a bunch of Democratic Party people, maybe some that work for ICE under Obama. Yeah, so your figures, because the border doesn't have as many people coming across. At least for now, you could still end up with surges if they figure out a way to try to thwart your system. Right. So because you don't have as many people coming across the border, you might have lower deportation numbers for at least a while, at least. But you're still effective because they're not coming across. So what you do, the way to calculate that would be to look at the number of people that were immediately deported that came across the border under or very swiftly deported under Biden, and then look at what obviously you're going to send everybody back, right? That comes across generally. I guess there's some people that have legitimate cases, right? So you try to figure out, because the weird part is, like Biden may have, just grab a number, may have deported 50 more people in a day because they came, 75 came across the border, and you only have like 10 coming across the border. Right. Because it looks like they included border numbers in a certain location, a couple of locations, like border deportations, not just task force. Okay. All right, so I got to say something about this. Remember, Biden had a larger number of people coming across the border due to the lack of deterrence. The Biden administration deportation numbers include detainees that do not come across the border under President Trump. Thanks, Lee. Therefore, the President Trump deportation numbers are actually effectually larger, or ineffectuation. Ineffectuation than they appear. Right? Because these people are no longer coming across the border. Therefore, the people that you would deport really fast are a lot smaller. Oh. Yeah, I've got the wrong Mike Banks page. I ended up on the Texas one. I was like, what? We got a new photo. All right, I'm tired. I almost fell asleep here. All right, Mike Banks' page. Put that information there. And we're going to change some wording. Oh, God. Praise the Lord. So you take the numbers, the difference in the two situations, how many come across the border, and then you look at, of that number, how many would normally be deported under Biden, right? And then you calculate how many are coming across the border now, and you can decide how many of those extra bodies are actually not coming across the border and therefore don't need deportation and would not be and are not available for deportation. Thank you, Lawrence. Right. But I think they changed some laws. I was thinking of something else, actually. I'm not going to speak out. I was inside and I started speaking out. I'm falling asleep here. having broadcasting and having an inside conversation at the same time. I got mixed up which one was which. Especially when I doze off, sometimes I have a conversation like going on, I link into it. Thanks, Larry. Yeah, I'm falling asleep here. Trying to get to the next information. You think the media leaked something? I'm not. I wouldn't just unless you know that's what it was. I think you may have electronic intrusion, possibly. I mean, a lot of people, a lot of phones. Right. That could be anybody, really. Right. You've been in the DA office and you don't even know you have it, and somebody inside that works admin, right? They're sympathetic. Now we can't start with our country because the cartels are down there, and that's obvious. Right? There's a leaked document that says large-scale immigration enforcement action coming soon to LA. Right. They're supposedly leaking. We don't know though. Sometimes that's just like a ruse to cause just a lot of unnecessary investigation. Right? They might be guessing. Who knows? But then again, it could be a leak. Thanks, Larry. Now, part of the problem with narcotics distribution under the cartel era is there's so much money because of the cartels and all of their business that they do, even with sex trafficking and all human trafficking. We can't stop it. It's just too lucrative, right? But if we can put a dent in the cartel side of it, we can definitely get a lot less people being involved in it, or can move a lot of people to not being involved. All right, I'm probably going to crash out here. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God and all.